Hey guys, welcome back. I'm out in the garden. I'm going to be doing some seed saving today from several different types of plants, so I thought I'd take you along, show you what it looks like to seed save from several different types of plants today. And I just want to make a disclaimer here. First of all, I am seed saving from heirlooms. I love growing heirlooms. That's the majority of what is growing in my garden behind me here. And one of the reasons why I love heirlooms so much is because I can seed save from them, and over many years this saves me a lot of money when I'm not having to continually rebuy seed. Okay, so the other thing that I want to say is whenever you seed save from, you need to make sure that your seeds are totally dry. There's no moisture left in them before you store those away, whether you're going to store them in the freezer or in a dark, cool, dry place. Whichever way you choose to seed save from, just make sure that you allow these seeds a couple of weeks time to totally dry out before you store them away permanently. And third of all, I'm going to just suggest that you make sure you properly label your seeds, because you may think that you will remember what a seed is, but then when you start saving lots of different ones, it's easy to get them mixed up and forget. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be seed saving from is going to be lettuce. I have a lot of lettuce seed I need to seed save from. So I'm going to take you over and I'm going to show you what lettuce looks like in a couple of different stages of growth when it's getting ready to put on seed. So I'm going to show you that, and then I'm also going to be seed saving from some radishes, some different types of beans, peas. We'll talk about really quickly, we'll just hit on tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, such as that, and that will be that. I'm going to try to make this super quick and simple. This is not going to be extremely in-depth. This is more like a beginner seed saving. Okay, so behind me I have these really tall plants. This is all different types of lettuce. This lettuce bolted probably almost 2 months ago. I've let it all bolt and go to seed. It's in different stages of going to seed. The larger darker brown red ones back here, that's the red wing lettuce, that bolted first, and my last lettuces to bolt, they held out the longest, where my iceberg and my romaine, you see them here, and right behind me there, the greener ones, those are ones that have just recently bolted and they are just now putting on flowers. Let's see if we can find one that has a flower. Let me turn this around. So these are the ones that are just getting ready to bolt. These are, like I said, the romaine and the iceberg, and these are just getting ready for their flowers to open up. So when a lettuce bolts, it starts to grow really, when it gets hot out, lettuce does not like hot weather. It bolts, that's what we call it. Whenever it begins to grow really tall, puts out this long central stem that then flowers on top. Each one of these little things here is a flower that will soon be flowering, and once the flower petals fall off, that is when we will be ready to harvest the seed once this has dried out. So this is green. It's actually a little sticky here. This is in the early stages, and then if we move back here, this is later stage of being ready to seed save from. So they have these little fuzzies on top. This is, the petals have all flowered. This was all flowers. The pollinators loved it. Petals fell off. This is very dry and crispy. You see these little white like fuzzies. I can pinch that, and then when I squish this in my hand, in there are all of my lettuce seed. And that's how simple it's going to be for me to seed save my lettuce from this. I'm just going to pinch the tops off of these and drop the seed into a bowl. Then I will take it inside and let it continue to dry for a few weeks, and then we will have our seeds right there ready to store away. So I have a lot of lettuce seed, a lot of tops here to pinch off and harvest the seed from, so I'm going to start working on that. Okay, so that's our lettuce there. We're going to move right on down here. This is what I call them noodle beans. Some people call them yard-long beans. I'm going to be seed saving from them. And this is going to be pretty much with any pea or bean. You're going to let it grow past when it would be desirable to have harvested originally. Now, like this one, this guy, that is nice and firm, that is ready to be harvested. Okay, below here I have purposely left these on the vine, and you can tell they're in different stages here. This has become very leathery feeling, it's turning yellow, and then this one's really getting dried out, and these are in the stages of being ready to seed save from. And actually I can show you one here. See how full this is, and it is also, it's very leathery. That's the beginning stage. You want to let it really overgrow it, whether it be a green bean, a pea, this type of bean. You're gonna let it go past its desirable harvesting stage until it is really grown. Just leave it there until it starts drying out like these, and then once it is dry like this isn't totally dry yet, but I'll go ahead and let's see if we can pop it open. The bean inside of this is not totally dry yet, but it's getting there. You pop open the shell and you'll have your beans inside. And how you know if your bean or pea seed is ready to be stored away or not, you just do the little fingernail test. This one is not going to be dry enough yet to store for sure, but if you push your fingernail into it and it leaves an indentation just like what it did there, this still has too much moisture in it to store away long term. Now I can go ahead and harvest these from like this brown one, and then I can take those, the bean in, the seed in, and let that continue to sit in a cool, dry place and dry out for another week or two. And then I'll just continue to come through and do the fingernail test. And once I can press my fingernail into this and it no longer shows an indentation like it did there, that's when I will know it's ready to store away. Okay, so we are going to move on over here. This is celery seed, the long-awaited celery that I have let bolt. This was last year's celery. I planted this celery last spring. It grew all season. We harvested from the outer edges of the celery over and over and over again. It provided celery for us all year long. I left it in the ground. It survived the winter. This spring, it began to put on new growth, and just like the lettuce, it grew really tall. It put on seed heads, which you have probably seen in my videos before. This was the seed heads. It had like flowers on it, and those flowers have since, the petals have fallen back, and I have been patiently waiting for the seed to turn brown like it is now. And now all I have to do is I just rake my hand across this, and we have lots and lots of heirloom celery seed that we are going to be able to seed save from. I have so much. And there it is. There's our celery seed. Now we'll once again let this dry for a few weeks inside, and then we will be able to store it away. So you can see here that all of this brown, everywhere where you see brown, that is all seed that is ready to be saved. So much celery seed. I will never, well, I won't say never, but I will not have to buy celery seed for years to come, guys. And this is why I love growing heirloom seeds. So much seed from just a few plants. Not only did these plants give us a year's worth of celery, but they are also now going to give us many more years worth of celery through the seed that it is going to provide for us. Okay guys, another thing that I'm seed saving from, and this is something I especially like to seed save from because not only are the seeds edible, and I can store this just as dry bucket from that, but this is actually a seed that's kind of hard to find locally, but this variety does really well here, and that is purple hull peas. These are interplanted within my sweet corn. They're interplanted around the bottom of my sweet corn. This has been a great way to save space and squeeze a couple of crops in here. I actually have green beans on the outer edge, and then the entire middle is purple hull peas interplanted with my sweet corn. Sweet corn's doing well. It's tasseled. It's starting to put on its ears here just now. Starting to put on some nice ears, but what we are seed saving from is going to be our purple hull peas. Now, whenever I'm harvesting these to cook from, I personally like to harvest them while the bean inside, the pea inside, is still soft, okay? So, but once the pod has turned totally purple, you're able to just pop this little guy open. And like I said, I could save this for, we can cook these and eat these peas. Right there. These still have some moisture left in them. But I will also take that, I will shell all of these out, shell all the peas out. These are a shelling pea. And then I will let all of my peas dry for a few weeks. And I will have those saved. And I can, like I said, those will be for eating and for planting next year. Okay, here's something else I'm going to be seed saving while I'm out here today, and that is coriander seed. Coriander seed is actually the seed from a cilantro plant, from a cilantro plant. So my cilantro has bolted. It's been 100 plus degrees for almost a month now, and of course the cilantro did not like that, but it is going to in turn give me this coriander seed from it. Look at that. Oop, I just dropped one. Alright, and I will be able to seed save that for spices as well as for replanting my cilantro back next year. Okay, so this strange looking plant hanging upside down is actually, this was kale. You probably saw it in another video. It was over another part of the garden. I needed that space when I dug up my potatoes and everything. So I went ahead and it was ready. It was already putting on its seed pods. Some of them were immature, but most of them were mature enough to seed save from. So I went ahead and pulled it out of the ground. It's been very hot and dry here, no rain at all. I decided to just flip it upside down. I hung it from my trellis here upside down. And you could do this inside if you have a barn or whatever as well. Once you get to a spot like with our lettuces, I could just harvest all of those, the tops of them off, turn them upside down and let them continue to dry by hanging upside down. And that is what I decided to do with these. Now this is kale. And down here we have our kale pods. They're right here. And all I have to do is just pop that open. And there is my kale seed. This is blue curled Scotch kale. Actually, I have what's left of it. The bugs are just really gobbling it up now that it's gotten really hot. But I have some right here beside of it still holding on and growing that surprisingly has never bolted. So there are my tiny little kale seeds, and it's just as simple as taking the pods, kind of popping them apart, and harvesting the seeds from those. Okay guys, let's take a little walk down here, and I have done the same thing with this plant as well. This was radishes that went to seed. They have bolted, but I needed to get them out of my way so I could replant. So I turned it upside down. It's been hanging out here in the weather. These are all totally dry now. This is what a radish seed pod looks like. And surprisingly, even though the pod is pretty large, there actually doesn't usually have a lot of actual seed in it. Usually, let's see if we can find a few here. There's one right there. Usually has about four-ish radish seeds per pod. Even though they are larger, they have less seed. Well, it got caught in my hand here. See if we can do that one more time. Okay, you can see the brown radish seed right there. Okay, so that's how easy it is. If you have radishes that they bolt, let a few of them go to seed, and you'll be able to save your own radish seed. Okay, so here is a prime example of what a cucumber will need to look like in order to seed save from a cucumber. Okay, so in here it has been very hot, and so our cucumbers have been misshapen. Some of them have been bitter. This is what just ends up happening whenever it is actually like 106 degrees outside. These plants just cannot keep up with that much without some type of shade. So this cucumber has started to turn a really weird orangey yellow color. So this means it has gone past its time of harvesting. It would taste really gross if we were to harvest this and try to eat it. And this is the color that you are going to look for when you are wanting to seed save from cucumber. Usually they would grow a lot larger, but these are like really small pickling cucumbers, so they don't get very big anyway. If you were growing like a larger variety of cucumber, the cucumber would obviously grow a lot larger before it would start to turn this color. But that is the color you're looking for. Then you would cut open the cucumber, and I may make a video on this later on. You cut it open, take the seeds out, and what you will notice when you open your cucumber seed is that the seeds have like a gel-like coating over the seeds. That is going to need to be removed from your seeds. This is a protective coating on your seeds. That will need to be removed before we seed save and store them long term. So what I do is I scoop out all my seeds, I rinse them off in a colander, and then I place those seeds in a mason jar with some water, and I just let them sit for 3 or 4 days. And what happens is they actually kind of start to like ferment. It'll start to stink. You'll want to put something over the top so bugs don't get inside of that jar. And eventually you will see the gel around those seeds start to come off. And as soon as you see that, you can then take the seeds, separate them from the gel stuff that will likely be floating on the very top, separate it all out, and only seed save the seeds that have the gel coating has been removed. And then how I do that is I take the seeds that no longer have a gel coating on them, I lay them out on a paper towel, and I let that sit maybe on top of like my fridge or somewhere out of the way on a paper towel until the seeds have totally dried out, and then I store them away. And I usually just store them away on that paper towel because they kind of get stuck to them, and then you can just tear the seeds off of the paper towel when you're ready to plant them. Okay, last but not least, for now, let's talk about seed saving tomatoes. So here's my tip when seed saving from your heirloom tomato varieties. Okay, so right here I have my Cherokee purple tomatoes. This is Cherokee purple tomato. And what I do when I'm choosing which tomatoes to seed save from is I am looking for genetic traits that I really like. Heirloom plants can tend to produce some very wonky shaped tomatoes, which is fine. I love that. But what we really want genetically to save is, some really nicely shaped, nice round. We want tomatoes that aren't splitting. We want to seed save from, my rules are, the first thing I watch for is which plant put on a tomato that starts to ripen and looks nice first. And that first ripe, well-shaped tomato is the one that I will seed save from. So I've actually already done that with some of these, but let's just say we were looking at all of the tomato plants that I have right here, right now. I would look through here and I would see which one looks like it's ripening first. So let's find one that's on the verge of getting ripe. So let's just say maybe it would be that one, but it's kind of small, so I might not want to seed save from that one yet. Let's go around on the other side. Over here we have some more down here that are starting to ripen. This one down here, this is a lot better sized tomato. Okay, that would be a really great one. It's the first one over here on this side to start ripening. That would be the one I would want to take in and seed save from. I'd want it to get a little bit more, obviously more ripe. You want to seed save from a really nice ripe tomato. And seed saving from the tomato seed is going to be a lot like how I just described seed saving from a cucumber. These tomato seeds have a gel coating on them, so you're going to want to remove the seeds, place those in a jar of water, cover that jar lightly so bugs can't get in it, and wait until you actually start to see a little layer of mold on top of the water. And that's when you will know the fermentation has started to happen, and that fermentation will break down the gel coating around your tomato seed. You can then rinse those tomato seeds off really well, lay them out on a paper towel to dry, and after a week or two, make sure they're really nice and dry. You can store those away. Okay guys, so that's just a few things that I'm seed saving right now in my heirloom garden. And another tip is, if you're going to seed save your tomato seed, so you let them soak for a few days in that jar, wait till it starts to look moldy and kind of gross on top, pour all of that dirty water out, then you can refill the jar, shake it around a few times, and then pour that out. Use like a little use a sifter, like a kitchen sifter, or like what you would use for flour or powdered sugar, and you can pour the water with the tomato seeds in it through that, and that way it'll be an easy way for you to get those tomato seeds. Lay them out flat on the paper towel, and then I go ahead and just take a pen or a Sharpie and write, so I don't forget, what that seed was that I am harvesting. I write that on my paper towel, and I spread those tomato seeds out on my paper towel and let that dry, and then I just fold up the paper towel. It already has the name of the seed on it. I fold that up nicely, put it in, another nice tomato, fold it up nicely, put it in a little Ziploc bag, and I put it in the freezer, and then I have my seed saved. It's already marked. It's on the paper towels, and then when it's time to start growing my seeds, then that is when I will either remove them from the paper towel, or you can even plant them with the paper towel still attached. It's not going to hurt anything. So there you go. It is definitely tomato harvesting season. Garden is struggling to keep up with all the hot weather here. It's been very dry, very hot. We're just trying to keep everything moving along here, and I will try to have some more garden videos up soon. I hope you guys have a good day. Hope this has given you an idea of how simple it can be to seed save from your own heirloom plants, and it'll save you money in the long run. It will also, throughout the years, you will begin to produce healthier, more resilient plants for your own garden, from your own garden. So I would love to encourage you to seed save, and I think it's a great insurance policy to be able to seed save from your own seed and not rely on the store. I hope you guys have a very blessed day. Thanks for watching.